Let me tell you about a drill. Not a fancy one, just a normal power drill, the kind millions of people have in a drawer or a garage. One day, you pull the trigger, and instead of that strong, steady whir, you hear a horrible grinding sound. The motor spins, but the drill bit barely turns. Something inside has stripped and slipped and given up. So you take it apart, or you take it to someone who can. And deep inside, you find the culprit, a little gear. And here's the thing that should make you angry. That little gear, the one that failed, is made of plastic. Cheap, soft plastic. Sitting right next to a powerful motor, doing a hard job, in a tool that was supposed to be tough. It never stood a chance. Now, that gear could have been made of metal. Metal gears are strong. They last for decades. For a long time, that is exactly what they used. So why is there soft plastic in a heavy-duty tool, right where the strain is greatest? The answer is the story of this whole channel, told through the tools in your shed. Because your power tools, the very things that are supposed to be strong and reliable, were quietly built to fail. Let's start with how tools used to be. Go into an old workshop, and you will find tools that have been working for 50 years or more. Drills, saws, and sanders, made mostly of metal, heavy in the hand, that have been used hard, day after day, for decades, and still run strong. These tools were built like the machines they truly were. Solid, simple, made to take a beating, and to be fixed when they finally wore out. A good tool was expected to last a working lifetime, and to be handed down to the next person after that. And when something did wear out, you fixed it. Tools were made to be opened up and mended. You could get the parts. You could replace a worn piece and keep going. A tool was an investment and a partner. You looked after it, and it looked after you for years and years. Now let's look at so many of the tools sold today. And here is where it all changed. The first trick is the one we started with. The plastic gears. To make tools cheaper, and to make them wear out sooner, companies started replacing the strong metal gears inside with cheaper plastic ones. Now, plastic can be fine for a light, gentle job. But in a powerful tool, doing hard work, a plastic gear is a weak link, just waiting to snap. And they often place it deep inside the tool, in a spot that is hard to reach, so that when it fails, fixing it is a real chore. A whole strong tool, brought down by one soft little gear, buried where you cannot easily get at it. The second trick is hidden in the motor. Many cheaper tools use a kind of motor that has little parts inside called brushes. These brushes rub against the spinning motor as it turns, and slowly, over time, they wear down, like the sole of a shoe. When they wear out, the motor dies. Now, on a good tool, those brushes can be replaced cheaply and easily. But on a cheap one, they are often sealed away, so that when they wear out, the whole tool is finished. There is a better kind of motor, without these wearing brushes, that lasts far longer. But it costs a little more. So the cheap tools get the wearing kind, quietly ticking down toward their end. There is a third trick, too, and it is a sneaky one. Walk into a store, and you will often see two tools that look almost the same. One is called a professional tool, and it costs more. The other is a home or DIY tool, and it costs less. They look similar, but inside, the cheaper one is deliberately made weaker. Cheaper gears, a weaker motor, flimsier parts. It is made to look like the real thing, but to give up far sooner. You think you are getting a bargain. You are really getting a tool that was designed, from the very start, to be the lesser one. But the biggest trap of all, in modern tools, is not the tool at all. It is the battery. Here is how it works, and it should sound very familiar by now. Most tools today run on rechargeable battery packs. And here is the trick. Each brand's batteries only fit that brand's tools. A battery from one company will not fit another company's drill. So once you buy into one brand, you are locked in. You have their batteries and their charger, so your next tool has to be from them too, or you would need to start all over again with new batteries. It is the razor and blades trick, built out of power tools. The battery is the hook, and once it is set, they have you. And those batteries, like all batteries, wear out. After a couple of years of use, they hold less and less charge. And here is the sting. A new battery pack for a tool can cost almost as much as a whole new tool, sometimes even more. So when your battery dies, you face a horrible choice. Pay a fortune for a new battery, or just buy a whole new tool that comes with a fresh battery already included. Many people, faced with that, just buy the new tool and throw the old one away, even though the old tool is perfectly fine. The battery, once again, was the weak link that killed the whole thing. And the companies have an even nastier version of this trick. Every so often, they bring out a brand new line of tools with a brand new battery design, a different shape, a different fit, and your old batteries do not work with the new tools. So if you want the newest tools, you cannot just use the batteries you already own. You have to start again, buying a whole new set of batteries and often a new charger too. In one move, they make your entire pile of old batteries worthless and force you to rebuy everything. It is planned obsolescence, aimed right at the batteries you already paid for. On top of all this, tools today are often sealed up tight, glued or riveted shut, made hard to open and fix, just like everything else we have looked at. The message is always the same. Do not repair. Replace. So step back and look at the whole picture. A tool with a plastic gear that strips. A motor with brushes that wear out and cannot be reached. A cheap version, deliberately built weaker than the pro one. A battery that locks you into one brand, dies in a couple of years, and costs as much as a new tool to replace. And a battery design that changes to make your old ones worthless. Every one of these is a little trap. And together, they turn tools, which should last a lifetime, into things you buy again and again. So who wins here? The tool companies, of course. Instead of selling you one great drill that lasts 30 years, they sell you a cheap one that strips its gears, and then a new one when the battery dies, and another when they change the battery shape. They lock you into their brand with the batteries, so you keep coming back. Every weak gear, every dead battery, every changed design is another sale. And who loses? You do. You pay, over and over, for tools that should have lasted a lifetime. And the planet loses too. Power tools are full of metal and motors and those valuable batteries. And we throw them away by the millions, most of them killed by a cheap gear or a tired battery that could have been fixed or replaced if only they had let us. And by now, you know this pattern by heart. The plastic gear and the wearing brushes are the built-in weak links. The sealed housing is the repair trap, and the locked-in, dying, ever-changing battery is the hook that keeps you paying. Different machine, the very same game. Build it weak, lock it down, and make you come back again and again. Let's put some real numbers on that battery trap, because they are genuinely shocking. Imagine you buy a nice cordless drill. It comes with a battery. A few years later, that battery is worn out. So you go to buy a replacement pack, and you discover it can cost more than half the price of a brand new drill, sometimes far more, for a single battery. You stand there, doing the math, and you realize the maddening truth. It is almost cheaper to buy a whole new drill with a fresh battery included than to buy just the battery on its own. The companies know this perfectly well. In fact, they count on it. They price the batteries so high, on purpose, that buying a new tool starts to look like the sensible choice. So you throw away a perfectly good drill, motor and all, just to get your hands on a fresh battery. It is a trick so simple and so effective that it is almost beautiful in a dark sort of way. And there is a clever hook they use to pull you in at the very start. The combo kit. You walk into the store and you see a big box with a drill and a saw and a light and 2 batteries and a charger all together for a price that seems too good to be true. It feels like a bargain. So you buy it. And just like that, you are locked in. Because now you own that brand's batteries and charger. And from now on, every new tool you want, you will be tempted to buy from that same brand. So you do not have to start all over again. The cheap kit was never really about giving you a deal. It was about locking you into their world for years to come. Now, good, tough tools do still exist. But notice who they are really sold to. The professionals, the builders, the plumbers, the people who use tools all day, every day, to earn a living. These folks cannot afford for their tools to fail on the job. So the companies do make strong, lasting, reparable tools for them. But they charge a high price for that quality. Meanwhile, the ordinary person doing a job at home on the weekend is steered toward the cheap, weaker version. The good stuff exists. It is just quietly kept behind a higher price and a different. And let's not forget where all these dead tools and dead batteries end up. Power tools are heavy with metal and copper and those valuable battery cells. When we throw them away by the millions, we are burying a fortune in materials in the ground. Worse, those lithium batteries, tossed carelessly into the trash, can catch fire when they are crushed. So the throwaway tool does not just waste your money. It adds to the growing mountain of dangerous waste and to the fires that break out in bin trucks and recycling centers around the world. Picture the everyday version of this. It is a sunny weekend, and you finally have time for that project you have been planning. You pick up your drill, pull the trigger, and the battery is dead. Not low. Dead. It will not hold a charge anymore. Your whole afternoon grinds to a halt. And now you are faced with that miserable choice. Pay a small fortune for a new battery, or drive to the store and buy a whole new drill. Either way, the day is ruined, and your money is gone, all because of a battery that quietly wore out, sealed inside a tool that was never meant to outlive it. And here's the part that really stings. None of this had to happen. We know how to make tools that last for 50 years because we did it for decades. We know how to make gears out of metal and motors without wearing brushes and batteries you can rebuild. The knowledge is all there. The ability is all there. They simply chose the cheaper gear, the wearing motor, the sealed and dying battery, and the locked-in brand. Not because they had to, but because a tool that lasts a lifetime and works with any battery is a tool they can only sell you once. Think, too, about how this changes the way people feel about their tools. And it works, quietly, on almost everyone. Most people never stop to ask why their drill died, or why the new tools do not fit the old batteries. They just grumble, and pay, and move on. That is the genius of it. It is spread out into small annoyances and small purchases, none big enough to make you truly angry, but all adding up, over the years, to a great deal of your money, flowing steadily to the tool companies. Until you see the whole pattern laid out, as we just have, it simply feels like bad luck. It is not bad luck. It is a plan. So how do you fight back? You have more power than you think. First, when you buy, look past the price tag at what is inside. Look for tools with metal gears, not plastic, especially for the heavy jobs. Look for the better kind of motor, the brushless kind, that has no wearing brushes and lasts far longer. These tools cost a bit more upfront, but they can outlast several cheap ones and save you money in the end. Second, think carefully before you pick a battery brand, because you are choosing a whole system, not just one tool. Look for a brand that has kept the same battery design for many years and promises to keep it. That way, the batteries you buy today will still fit the tools you buy in 10 years. Getting locked into a brand that keeps changing its batteries is a costly mistake. Third, do not throw away a tool just because its battery died. Very often, you can buy a fresh battery or even have the old pack rebuilt for far less than a new tool. And a tool with a stripped gear or worn brushes can often be fixed with cheap parts and a little patience. There are guides online for almost every tool ever made. Fourth, consider corded tools and older tools for jobs where you do not need to move around. A corded drill or saw has no battery to die and no ecosystem to lock you in. And those tough old tools from decades past, found secondhand for very little, will often outwork and outlast anything new. And most of all, remember the trick. When your tool strips a gear, or its battery dies, or its old batteries suddenly do not fit the new range, you now know exactly why. It was built that way, on purpose, to bring you back to the store. So the next time your drill grinds to a halt, or your battery gives up, or you are told your old batteries are no good for the new tools, do not just sigh and buy the whole set again. Stop. Look at what really failed. Because very often, a strong tool was brought down by one cheap, deliberate weak point. And a little knowledge can keep that tool, and your money, working for years to come. Your tools were meant to be your partners for a lifetime. Too many of them were built, instead, to fail and to lock you in, so that you would keep on buying forever. This is just one corner of your home, the humble toolbox. On this channel, we keep opening up the machines you trust and showing you the weak links and the traps hidden inside. Because once you can see how they are built to fail, you can start choosing and fixing and keeping the ones that are not. So stick around. There is a whole lot more to uncover.